Hello and welcome to another Best Junglers episode, this one fresh for patch 11.17. And believe me when I say I did not expect to be making this one purely because I did not think we would have that many changes around our general jungle meta. Well, with Viego's atomization and Viego himself been taken out back and, well, stabbed, the nerf to Serpent's Fang as well as Kayn, and then we have the buffs, that's right, buffs to things like a Mumu, Echo, Evelynn, and while all of that, along with the Divine Sunderer nerfs, don't really change the meta, it does give the SN80 page a good jostling, and so I will look at the best performing solo queue junglers for you to use on this patch, and while you happen to be playing those games, Rost has a message.
Hello, have you ever wanted to get buffed like me? Well, that's just not possible because of how glorious I am. But you can still play games and earn through Buff.game. Buff is a loyalty program that rewards gamers simply for playing. As an authorized app of Overwolf, you can play and earn points from League of Legends to Valorant and more. And then you take these shiny buff points and you exchange them for Steam credit, Riot Point cards, skins, game keys, and way more. It's as if you get a pentakill level 1 and watch the orbs flow through you. Notice the new skin? All from Buff. Much like the Udyr and Hector meta, you do not have to do anything. Just let Buff run in the background, grind solo queue like the beast you are, and know that the app will not impede your PC performance. Available for free worldwide. Download Buff with a link in the description below to play and earn.
Alright, straight into the S tier page, you can see Kha'Zix remains at the top. Now Jarvan, Xin Zhao, those champions still technically are more accessible, they still technically have better data. I do love me some well executed Kha'Zix gameplay. Pathing, adaptation, and itemization all need to flex according to who you're playing against, but those who don't hesitate, those who simply going for the ganks, heads up for that video tomorrow, those who just know how to snowball, it's really something pleasing to watch, and honestly you have so much control that you can exert over the game on the enemy jungler in terms of respecting your isolation damage, and on those laners who don't use great early wards to track you and suppress you from reaching your apex. And yes, that is a reference to the warding video I just released. I do advise that for all junglers and laners, just to have a good idea of how you can sort of begin a game, track the enemy jungler early and often, and then, you know, take over the early game from there. Kha'Zix matches up very well in general, although you've got the Rek'Sais and the Evelynns that can be kind of irritating, the Olaf obviously as well. A good Nidalee can cause him a lot of pain, but overall, if your pathing is good and you know savant level, you should have no problem basically executing your will, the Predator's will, whenever you want. And next up we have Jarvan the 4th, and I'd like to just reuse one of the lines I had in the previous best junglers because it basically summarizes them perfectly. Not only do we have a 2% increase on his current HP passive, he also got a 5% AD bonus ratio on his ultimate, which means you can now boom enemy champions in a way that only solo Renekton only knows how. Now say that 4 times and then add Jarvan to the list of champions you want to work with this summer, because he's that good. And nothing has really changed from that statement. In fact, he's gotten stronger. The matchups doesn't really have a weak one that you kind of going, well, you know, I feel like I'm gonna be destroyed. No. You destroy anyone and you control the tempo with your choice of clears. His pick rate with his win rate combined, 13% pick rate, 52% win rate, means he is really enjoying the jungle meta, and obviously those buffs did the trick. Next up, Xin Zhao returns once more, the Trundle really being a strong counter pick. I'd say pillar in his side, but you know. But with the nerf to Divine Sunderer, Trundle's win rate went down, you know, like 0.5%, not much. He's still very powerful, he's still one of the best in the game, but that is a direct boon to anyone who was countered by him, and I don't feel like he's OP or anything like this. He's simply strong, he's versatile, he's easy to use, you can execute your will, and there are matchups that can deal with him in due course. Like Jarvan has versatility in terms of the early clear and early pressure he needs to exert, and his team fighting is just really underrated. Everyone knows Jarvan's team fighting, but Xin Zhao's team fighting is nothing to scoff at. His disruption, his ultimate, his ease of ganking, we've seen this in all the pro leagues across the playoffs. The champion is good, the champion is strong, and you can climb with him easily. Next up we have Lee Sin. Apparently those nerfs they were short-lived. He did not get rebuffed, however the meta changes a little bit with other nerfs around the field, and he remains here. Still the ever-present, ever-popular, people's champion of the jungle. I don't foresee that ever really changing, but you know what? It's worth noting his ban rate is at 27%. People are kind of saying, well, there's nothing really OP, but Lee Sin can just be frustrating. He can save people, he can snowball really hard, and if he gets any sort of prio into my jungle, and I don't match up well with him in a 1v1 sense, I'm going to be having a sad time. And you know, when Lee Sin, Jarvan, and Xin Zhao are all kind of meta, you know you're looking at those champions that enjoy punching, fisting, and stabbing. So path well, path smart, or just play Rek'Sai and beat them. Following the Goon Squad in the top 4 positions, we have the elevated and sophisticated demonic hellspawn that is Fiddlesticks. Ready to scream at enemies with Electrocute, Predator, or Dark Harvest, he's probably one of the best champions to one-trick, don't you think? Not banned a lot, has unique pathing that enemy junglers wouldn't face on a day-to-day basis, and so you have the mind game advantage. Win rate is good, matchups are good, item versatility, rune versatility, and of course, teamfight domination. I know it feels like I'm saying the same thing every video with Fiddlesticks, but that's because he is just sort of outside the meta. He just exists perpetually in this state of strength. And that's just neat. Now next up is Trundle, and I put him on the A tier page in the last video, and I'm pretty sure that's because I was suppressing the pain of having to face this champion on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, he is significantly stronger than I was letting on. I knew it, we all knew it, I apologize for the slip-up. Regardless, he is here now. Divine Sundra was nerfed, he doesn't care at all. If you want to go Q-Max or E-Max, you decide whatever you want. Oh, W-Max too. Let me just stress one important thing. Be everywhere fast, and when you see a matchup that you can win, please run at them at full speed and force them to make decisions that are uncomfortable. When you have that Giga Chad alpha sprint at their face mentality, they really freak out. They don't know how to fight you, they don't know if they want to fight you, and most of the time they either die or run away. This gives you Prior of the River, which is what we want, trolls under the bridge. Yeah, pretty good. Now in the last video, everyone was saying, well, where's Evelynn, Virkayu? You took Evelynn off the list. Yeah, because I honestly did not think she was that strong. She had so many bad matchups in the meta, specifically the buffs to J4 not panning out well for her. But also, she'd been on most of my tier list for 2 years. She's always that kind of Fiddlesticks-esque position, you know? Unique style, unique pathing, easy 1v9 potential. But turns out, Riot agreed with me that she was a little bit weak and then buffed her ultimate CDR. 20 seconds off rank 1 means now you can execute people 20 seconds more often. And a lot of times with Evelynn, you'd use your ultimate, obviously get 6, use your ult, farm a little bit, and then use that question mark of your invisibility to threaten some kind of action. But in the end, you were really limited in terms of, you know, how you could actually play around it, because you almost felt like, oh, I'm done. I need to use my ultimate, but there's 20 to 30 seconds left on the charge. Now their problem does not exist. Huzzah, celebrations, go get some assassinations. And finally, on the S tier page list, we have Rek'Sai. I love Rek'Sai at the moment. The win rate is astronomical. Play rate is low, so it's distorted. Remember that. But if you watch the 2 jungle mistakes video, you know how to maximize your experience video I did about a week ago, you would notice that her ability to do a red side clear into action and then sequence tier 2 camps, you know, maximizing experience, that's what the whole video is about, and then also being able to go head to head with all the other meta junglers in a fair capacity, means that along with her ganking angle, which is almost unmatched, you can really force enemy junglers to play your tempo, and because you can beat them when you get fed, and because you can control the objectives, the win conditions of your existence are really down to how well you pilot the champion. Next up, the A tier page, and here we have Graves. His win rate isn't doing so well, and his Q did just get nerfed. However, I still think he is an absolutely exemplary jungler for the current meta. If you understand game flow, if you understand how to sequence very fluidly from one side of the map to the other, to track the enemy jungler, to counter jungle their actions, to place deep vision, to take the fights you can take, to simply get 10 CS a minute and have 60% KB while having objective control, you know, that quest for jungle perfection, Canyon-style jungling, Graves is the man for the job. Right now, Nocturne is still a very solid champion. If you want to climb from the jungle and you want to solo carry, he's a great one. The ultimate itself basically makes the kit, the lethal tempo sort of conquer stacking runes that you could use to fight other junglers. This also goes very well. But I feel like his popularity and the attractiveness of the champion is going down once more because he's not really statistically OP at all. So if you're one of those Nocturne mains and enjoying the free LP that he's giving you, keep on going. He's kind of in that Fiddlesticks, he's not going to be banned, but you can play almost any sort of game state. Enjoy. So like the Evelynn a couple patches ago, I took Nunu and Willem off of this list saying I felt they were too weak. Riot once again agreed and then buffed them. Which means I think you should keep an eye out on who's not on this list, maybe they'll get buffed next. But what they would have come back with, as you would have seen on the gameplay channel, is a 90% ratio on his E, at least in terms of total output, which means AP Nunu, that's a thing. Tank Nunu with Rocket Belt, that's a thing. Basically whatever you want, it's a thing. Roll fast and roll hard, I suppose. Now, Shaco has dipped a lot and people will say, wow, his hate boner for the champion is finally extinguished. No, it still exists, I still like to ban him. But I think people have totally misconstrued my dislike of the champion for me saying he's broken OP. He never was, never has been, never will have been. It's just that he contorts the entire reality of the early game around his cheese, and I don't like that. But in terms of overall balance, he's definitely gone down in the win rate, his pick rate is down again, the ban rate is down again. Things like Evelynn, Kayn, Rengar, Xin, and Graves all do very well into him, which means if you see a Shaco, you have more than enough tools to destroy his soul, as he deserves. Next up we have Zac, and I have nothing to say about him except very strong tank, long range E-bombs, nothing has changed, and I will use his position to basically say Mumu, 51% win rate, almost 7% pick rate, looking a very spicy choice beneath Diamond. Above Diamond, it still sucks. Any of the meta champions will have no issue at raiding and destroying a Mumu. Just be aware of the double Q mechanic now. So if you need a good choice of tank, something like a Conqueror, Aftershock Mumu, I mean Conqueror is performing better, so think about that. Or your classical full tank Zac, but Zac of course is performing better, is easier to use in terms of he's a straightforward tank. You have no issue accessing backlines, which is what you want to be able to do as an engaged champion. And obviously has the benefit of being able to blow himself up like a balloon. And next up is Kayn. They nerfed the Shadow Assassin, they nerfed Serpent's Fang, how dare they? But they did buff Ghostblade, so if you decide to go that item, you probably lose a little bit of the utility from Edge of Night. You can go this as well at the end. But overall, it really did affect his total win rate. I think the champion is still insanely strong, but getting form is more important now than ever. And whenever you see things like Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, Jarvan, please, stop picking Blue Kayn, go Rast. And no, he didn't pay me to say that, I'm telling you this is a fact of life. With so many melee champions running around, Rast can become an unkillable demon. I know you all love Blueser and Bruiser Kayn, but please, Rast is the best thing for melees, he's unkillable, and Blue Kayn does have his place, it's just not really one-sided anymore. And next we have Echo, freshly buffed with some more damage to monsters, which means because you can farm faster, you can get on the map faster, you can fight sooner, you can gank sooner, you can get crabs sooner, you get more itemization sooner, which means you snowball sooner. It's almost like they've done this before. Now, I think he's an incredibly strong pick. Please do not think of his position on this list as some kind of judgment against his power curve. The play rate is insanely high, almost 17% as of the making of this video. The win rate basically 50%. Keep an eye on his data, keep an eye on the matchups. It might only go up. What Diana was back in the day is what Echo became on release, which is what Diana became again when they changed her, and now Echo is reclaiming the throne. And finally, on the A tier page, we have Kindred. Nothing really to say about them. They're still performing incredibly well overall. Nice marksman kit. Remember, learn the way, learn the life. Don't compromise your jungling for marks. And stop trying to scale. You don't need to accidentally scale. You're not Kale. Go and be proactive with your pathing. Be aggressive. Use your skirmishing early. It's much, much stronger than you think. Snowball hard. Carry well. Right now, obviously, they wanted a Mumu to be better in high elo. I mean, it's better in gold and platinum. It's not better in diamond. It's not better in master plus. But boy, is it really strong on low elo. Him and Master Yi? Who are we kidding? They've always been the best two for low elo. Shaco's cheese reaches blue cheese levels in low elo, so you could use that if you like. Nocturne is great. Jarvan is great. Vi is actually incredibly strong at the moment as well. So is the Echo. Warwick is still viable, but honestly, the champion you're seeing here will just do everything he wants to do and more. And for the high elo page, well, Lee Sin is here, Nidalee is here. Is anybody surprised? The Echo pick rate is really kind of unnatural in high elo though, where it's 17% for the general populace, 22% in global Master Plus games. And that's including the fact that Diana is still very solid in this arena as well, but I think the win rate, it's justifiably low at this point. Why play Diana when you can just do the Echo at this stage? You've got your Graves, your Kha'Zix, your Jarvans, your Trundles, your Xin Zhaos, and I'm 100% sure the Viego is going to be hotfixed and dealt with. But as I said, do not, and I repeat, do not sleep on the Rek'Sai. If you have a one trick that you've got into Master Plus, keep on playing them, they're good. This is really just a sample of the most used and the most contested picks, not necessarily what's purely the best. Remember that when we talk about jungle meta, because it's not always cut and dry, it's not always black and white. You gotta think about the gray area. And then you've got things like Nidalee, which are just sublime in the right hands. And if you don't, well, she can be pretty much just useless. But there you have it, a nice rundown of the 11.17 meta. Hopefully things will shift as well. Keep paying attention to the data, to the win rates, look out for the hotfixes. Things always evolve as other champions get more popular, so it's interesting to watch. The jungle meta, the balanced meta in general, is a living organism. Pay attention to it, respect it. Please do like, share, and comment if you enjoyed it and learned something. Don't forget to join the Patreon for the tier list as well as coaching VODs. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.